Hey, it's me, Tisha Speaks, and we are going to be on episode 3 talking about Hanson, and we are going to be discussing the MOE magazine. We're still on volume 1, but we're going to be on issue number 4. Okay, so let's get into it. This MOE magazine, it really didn't give you much of anything, okay? So the last MOE magazine, it was packed with so much goodness, okay? It was packed with so much talk about Albertine, talk about the road, talk about, just everything you want to know about the guys and being on tour. This one, to me, it felt like it was just a little bit lackluster. And now that it's like 20 plus years later, I feel like now I know why. Now I can understand. But when I was like in my teenage years, I was like, yeah, this is so good. But as I was reading over it today, or over the last couple of days, I was like, this isn't what I thought it was. Okay, so it starts off with album. Okay, so if you were a girly like me back in the day, you're like, ooh, yes, album. They're talking about new music. So what are they saying? This is what it says. In the last couple of years, we have traveled in planes, trains, basically like everywhere. They're talking about all their travels. They traveled the entire world. Then they go into the songs. The first stage in writing music. So they're talking about their process in writing music. And so what they say is that they've been writing so many different songs, and that since Middle of Nowhere, they have accumulated at least I think they say between 15 to 50 songs, and that they just cannot wait to get back into the studio. And if you are a fan, you know that. You know the history of Hanson from Middle of Nowhere to this time around, that it was definitely a journey. So right now, they're just talking about the whole process and the whole stage of writing music, and that since Middle of Nowhere, that's what they've been doing. They've been writing songs, and they cannot wait to get back into the album, get into the album, start making an album and producing the album and getting new music out to the fans. And then they say the demo. The second stage is where they are right now. The demoing is making rough recordings of the songs to get an idea of how they are going to sound. During this stage, you are to concentrate on recording the basic idea of each song. The songs may be the missing part or the missing link of the bridge, or part of a lyric, but it's the basic concept of the song. So they're talking about right now they're just demoing songs. So basically they're kind of putting together a rough draft of an album. So they're talking about how they are excited to get back into the studio. So here they're saying, what's the third stage? Getting back into the studio. We're not there yet. Okay. 26 years later, we know they're with Mercury. Mercury goes under, okay? Mercury goes under, and we know that Hanson's contract is in limbo. It's kind of in limbo until they land with Def Jam Records. So now they're saying that, they're not in the studio. Ella! Jeez Louise! Come here. I'm going to show everybody. This is Ella, okay? So whenever you be hearing all the barking and everything, this is her. She's caused so much trouble sometimes. Alright. Sorry, y'all. Okay, we're back again. So they're talking about, how they want to get back into the studio, but they're not there yet. So they've been writing, they've been doing some demoing, they've been putting some rough stuff together, and now they're trying to get back into the studio. So they're working through the vocal parts, sampling like crazy, editing, they're doing all this stuff. And they're trying to get things together to go back into the studio. And that's it. So it's just this one, like 2 pages, not even really 2 pages. It's just a couple of paragraphs of the album, and that's it. That's like all we get from this MOE magazine about the music. And as a fan, it's kind of like, now that we're looking back, it takes like three years for this album to come out. So from this MOE magazine to like way more magazines, it takes quite a while for an album to be released. So then they go into like Dr. Food. People are asking Hanson about food. So the next page is someone asks Hanson about like their favorite dessert or their favorite food, and they're like, it's a good question. So someone says, I love your column about food and it makes me really hungry or whatever, and they talk about like, what's your favorite dessert? And they mention that one of their favorite dessert is the tiramisu. I actually love tiramisu. It's one of my favorite desserts. And then Hanson gives like a basic ingredient or a basic recipe for tiramisu in this edition of their MOE magazine, and I'm actually going to like try it out. I want to like buy their ingredients to make it, because I love tiramisu, but I never made one before. But they have the ingredients right here, something I want to try making one. And then there's It's News, moments in music, and so they talk about like guitars. They talk about like the stops that Hanson made on the Albertine tour. So it's a lot of recycled information that we knew from the other MOE magazines. To me, it just feels like they didn't really have much to put into this MOE magazine, but they had to put something out for the fans because, you know, people have the subscription. So they put more about their time when they went to the Gibson Museum, which was in the last MOE magazine. So they talk about Chuck Berry, Johnny B. Good, and all that stuff. They talk about like the designs of guitars or whatever. So there's nothing much really about the band. They talk about the MOE chat. So like, as I was really reading through this magazine, I was really feeling like, oh my goodness, there really wasn't much to this MOE magazine. And then they have like some pictures, but hindsight, looking in, 20 years later, now we know why. Like, I know why this magazine was not the greatest of the MOE magazines. It wasn't that great because Hanson, for one, they weren't in the studio. They couldn't be in the studio because Mercury was going under. Their contract was in limbo. They had to find a new place to even record music. They had to find a new studio. They had to find a new record label. So this MOE magazine did not really have much new information. They didn't even have new information to talk about an album or what kind of album they're going to be releasing. So this MOE magazine wasn't the greatest, but as a fan, you loved it because it came from the band that you adored. But as far as it being worthy of anything new or learning anything new or anything great, that really wasn't. The last magazine was the Albertine one, was really great, but this one really wasn't. It was a quick read through and not much about the band or anything new. Anyhow, that was it for this MOE magazine. I hope you liked it, and I will be going through the next MOE magazine, and hopefully it's better and have more information than the last one. We'll see what we get from the next one. Bye, everyone.